You can be a helicopter pilot. You can go for two ways. One is the expedited process, where you go and do some training and you get two licenses. You work on two licenses, private and commercial. Whereas you go for another option as a professional pilot course, where you do go for 5 licenses: private, instrument, commercial, instrument instructor, and CFI. And that is what I did. And after that I did teach some students how to fly, worked on my hour building, and we'll talk about the details as it comes. But this is the basic initial start, how you come. And I do recommend Mauna Loa helicopters in Hawaii. The details right down here. Being a helicopter pilot, you're living a different life. So if you've just been being attracted, looking at the bright side, then you should reconsider, because this has a lot of struggle, a lot of hard work, dedication, patience, and it demands everything. This can break you down. And also I want to tell you, not everyone who goes to train becomes a helicopter pilot. Right, hello, welcome once again. Okay, so to continue with the video about today, we'll talk about how can one be a helicopter pilot in Nepal, but that one being a Nepali. So Nepali lai Nepal ma aera co-pilot banna ke cha prakriya bhandakhari, you basically go do your helicopter flight training, and you do your helicopter flight training wherever you want. I recommend USA. अनि ट्रेनिङ गरेर आइसकेपछि फर्स्ट थिङ यु डु कम ब्याक इन नेपाल भनेपछि नेपालमा आएर नेपालको कमर्सियल लाइसेन्सको लागि जाँच दिनु पर्यो. अनि त्यसपछि आफ्टर यु पास, देयर आर सो मेनी अदर trainings you have to go through, like dangerous goods course, language proficiency, and blah blah blah, DG course. धेरै छ हैन, त्यो AIP छ, धेरै छ. You get that done. तर फर्स्ट एन्ड फरमोस्ट प्राइमेरी भने नेपालको कमर्सियल लाइसेन्स हुन्छ. आफ्टर द्याट अनि त्यसपछि यु गेट अ ट्रेनिङ अन द हेलिकप्टर, यु क्यान फ्लाइ. सो द्याट इज जेनरली डन बाई द कम्पनी. अब हाम्रो केसमा हामी B3 मा ट्रेन गर्छौँ फर अल द नेपाली पाइलट्स. अहिले मेरो भिडियो खिच्ने भाइ मिस्टर भास्कर, ऊ पनि क्यानाडाबाट भर्खर पाइलट ट्रेनिङ भ्याएर आएको. हेलो हेलो. यिनीहरूलाई अब B3 मा ट्रेनिङ हुन्छ. अनि त्यो ट्रेनिङ सकेपछि अनि दे फ्लाइ एज अ को पाइलट. चान्स पाएको अवसर एनी टाइम चान्स पाउँदाखेरि को पाइलट भएर उड्छ. अनि वान्स यु हेभ 600 टर्बाइन आवर्स एज अफ नाउ है, 600 टर्बाइन घन्टा. मेक स्योर दिस इज टर्बाइन आवर, किनकि जेनरली वेन यु डु ट्रेनिङ अब्रोड यु डु पिस्टन हेलिकप्टरमा गर्छ, त्यही भएर त्यो आवर यो टर्बाइनमा काउन्ट हुँदैन. सो त्यहाँबाट आउँदा 200 घन्टा होस् या 1000 घन्टा होस्, यदि टर्बाइनको आवर छैन भने यु स्टार्ट फ्रम 0 इन नेपाल. त्यो नेपालमै उडाएको टर्बाइन हेलिकप्टरको 600 घन्टा पुगेपछि बेस्ड अन योर क्वालिफिकेसन्स के हुन्छ, कम्पनीले PIC चेक राइट भनेर हुन्छ. त्यसमा चाहिँ सिभिल एभिएसनको एकजना अब्जर्भर आउँछ. अनि यु पर्फर्म एज अ सोल PIC अफ द हेलिकप्टर, फाउन्ड सेटिस्फ्याक्ट्री. अनि त्यसपछि यु आर रिलिज्ड टु फ्लाइ द हेलिकप्टर एज अ PIC अप टु एन अल्टिट्युड अफ 10,000 फिट. नेपालमा चाहिँ फेरि हाई अल्टिट्युड र लो अल्टिट्युड भन्ने सिस्टम पनि छ. 10,000 फिटसम्मको लागि चाहिँ क्लियर हुन्छ. अनि त्यसपछि आफ्टर यु गेट एकुमुलेट अ टोटल अफ 1000 टर्बाइन आवर्स इन नेपाल. अनि त्यसपछि यु गेट यु डु बेसिकली 5 आवर्स हाई अल्टिट्युड ट्रेनिङ. अनि त्यो ट्रेनिङ पछि फेरि हाई अल्टिट्युड चेक राइड हुन्छ. अनि त्यसमा सेटिस्फ्याक्ट्री भएपछि देन यु आर रिलिज टु फ्लाइ अप टु हायर अल्टिट्युड अप टु 17,500. अनि त्यसपछिको नेक्स्ट स्टेज चाहिँ बेस्ड अन युर प्रोफिसियन्सी एन्ड स्किल्स कम्पनीले इन्टरनली चेक गरेर अनि दे क्यान रिलिज यु फर हायर अप टु 22,000 फिट. अनि बेसिकली दिस इज वाट it takes to be a co-pilot in Nepal for Nepali. Alright, I'd like to welcome you all to another location during my video. This is a very religious or holy place named as Pathivara, and to continue with becoming a pilot. As with regards to foreign pilots who want to fly in Nepal using their flying licenses issued by their own country, or we say flying in Nepal in validation, you need to have at least 1,000 hours total helicopter time, and in that you also need to have at least 100 hours on type. So any machine you're gonna fly. So something a little different in Nepal is we fly mostly B3Es in Nepal. So if you have say 3,000 hours in B2, then that doesn't count as a B3E time. Sorry to say, but that's the rules. So they require, the civil aviation requires 100 hours on type, 1,000 hours total time, and then you can then you will be recognized as a professional pilot, and your license will be validated, and after some company checks you'll be released to fly. Again, initially you'll be flying below 10,000 feet, and above 10,000 feet is the same requirements as they do for a Nepali pilot. You need to have either have a high altitude experience or do a high altitude training, a check ride, and then pass from it, and be released for the high altitude flights in Nepal. Once again, welcome to my channel, Pilot Bimal. Hi there. And this is your pilot standing at an altitude of 17,500 feet. This place is known as Kalapathar.
Alright.
That peak is Mount Pumori. And if we look towards that side, is right there is Mount Everest, but unfortunately
We
it's
couldn't
covered
see.
up at the moment. Down there is Everest Base Camp. And to continue with the video of how to be a helicopter pilot. Yes, you need quite a lot of things. A few most important ones. First, most importantly, you need a lot of money for that. And then number 2, strong dedication. And number 3, will to carry on, desire, and big willpower to keep yourself pushing. Now, to give you the basics, I did my training from Mauna Loa, Hawaii in USA back in 2015, and I did a professional pilot course. The reason I'm shouting and the reason I'm feeling a little breathless is because we're at an altitude of 17,500. The air is thin, so I have less oxygen to breathe. The temperature now is negative 10 degrees Celsius, and with the wind it's like negative 15 degrees Celsius. So that's why I'm kind of having tears in my eyes and breathing this way. Anyways, to continue. There are 2 ways you can go. Expedited program, like you do a private pilot course, and a commercial course, which includes a total of 150 hours. That's what you do as a training, and then the cost of that training is roughly $68,000. And then another way to go is you do a professional pilot course, and that will give you around 200 plus hours, and on average when I finished it I had 226 hours when I finished my program. And then the price code for a professional pilot program is $115,000. Also includes your accommodation for 13 months, and this includes 215 hours. So once you finish that, you get to be a CFI, teach other brand new helicopter pilots how to fly in the same time. You build your hours, and then you carry on, you proceed, and then you move on to turbine helicopters. And talking about flying in Nepal in high altitude again, once you get some hours in Nepal and you do some 5 hours of high altitude training,
then you are released to fly up to 17,500 feet. So at the moment, this is my limit. I can't go land any higher than this point, because for that I need in-house company training, and then after that my company will release me based on my performance. And since it is so chilly here, I won't be spending much time in here, so it's time to go back. And you can see on the back, this is my sweet ride, and this is what I take. This is where what I used to go around Nepal, see beautiful Nepal, and you can also see Nepal through my eyes in other videos. And yeah,
and that's
at the moment, my friend who is helping me with the video is one of the very popular singers from Nepal, Mr. Razulama, a very good friend.
Yeah.
And so many times we fly to places where there are no proper helipads. So sometimes the places the villagers, the locals select are not suitable. So we have to look for a suitable helicopter landing sites by ourselves. Could be a bit close to the place they selected, or which could be a little further away. So they are all unimproved helipads, and most of the times it's a field in the backyard of the people's houses. But in Nepal, the villagers are very welcoming, and they know the urgent need of the helicopters for rescue missions at difficult times. So they happily let us land in the places, and even surprisingly, if we are stuck in that area due weather, then they do offer us food and drinks, which is very good of them. And comparing helicopters and aeroplanes safety wise, so when it comes to talking about safety, yes, again, helicopter by its nature is not made to fly in between airports all the time. So we go to odd places, and like I answered earlier, in case of engine failure, that's when the safety factor comes in. A helicopter can take off and land from a small area, as opposed to a requirement of a big runway for aeroplanes. Helicopters can land in a small area. Thus, in case of an engine failure, a helicopter can again come to land in a small area as well. Could be a parking lot of 2 to 3 cars. So yes, I would say helicopters are safer in terms of engine failure. And we do train to land helicopter when they have engine failure during our initial course, and as our yearly requirement, we do the trainings every now and then. When helicopters fly low over lake or large water bodies, they tend to sink in and a high-speed descent into the water. Is there any force pulling the helicopter towards the water? No. Generally what happens is, if you are flying over a large body of water, then you lose depth perception, meaning you won't know how high you are from the water. Sometimes you have a you misjudge and you feel you are higher, but actually you're not. So you keep continuing closer to the water, and then in a high speed, any part of the helicopter touches the water, then a crash is bound to happen. Flying a helicopter is extremely difficult. Is it? Is the next myth or question asked generally. So to answer it, how do you take easy or difficult? Because if you look passively, then nothing is easy to do in this world. However, if you are motivated and get things done, you can do it. So all it needs is hard work, dedication, training. Yes, if you want to compare it with an aeroplane, I have a few friends who fly both the helicopters and aeroplane, and So if you want to compare it with in between a helicopter and an airplane, then an airplane by nature wants to keep flying. So if you let go of the controls, then it will still be flying. However, in case of a helicopter, if you let go of the controls, then it will stop flying. So to make a helicopter fly, you gotta fly it all the time and continuously. Can helicopters fly at night? Yes, helicopters can fly easily at night. There is something called night VFR, where you still fly at night with reference to the lights and grounds. Light sources and light sources are visual rules, are based on visual cues from the ground, whereas you can also fly a helicopter on IFR rules, only strictly looking at the instruments, for which you need instrument training and instrument equipped and approved helicopter. There are quite a few requirements on that one, but in Nepal, IFR for helicopters is not approved or allowed. And yes, I do have personally flown myself a lot of. I do have night hours on helicopters, as I was flying in New York. Most of the charters, or a lot of charters. Is it challenging to fly in Nepal considering the weather? Yes. First and foremost, we don't have proper weather information of all the places in Nepal, because mostly what happens in Nepal is we fly to various places, and most of the times they are not airports, so there's no weather information. So we generally take weather information from the local residents, police. So if you have any further queries, feel free to put it down in the comment section, and I will reply it to you in the best of my knowledge.